On May 4th, Donald Trump, Gary Cohn, and Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary and the National Economics Council leader, respectively, sat down with The Economist for a little interview, and I have to say, it is delightful. Oh, Trump gives us all his greatest hits. It is lovely. Oh, just warms the cockles of my heart. How are your cockles? Pretty warm?
Oh, is that what they are?
Yeah, the cockles of my heart. Let's read an excerpt. One of my personal favorite of the excerpt. It's.
Hold it.
Yeah, I got a quote. It's a long interview, but I'm just going to pick this one particular piece because I think it just basically sums up the whole point here. This is The Economist asking Donald Trump, it sounds like you are imagining a pretty big renegotiation of NAFTA. NAFTA, for all you who don't know, and including you, Donnie, because I don't think you even know, NAFTA stands for the North American Free Trade Agreement. I swear, I do not think that Donald Trump knows what that stands for. He really doesn't. He's just been going on and on and on about we got to get rid of NAFTA, get rid of NAFTA. You know what? He's right. NAFTA has got a lot of shitty stuff in there. But it's been going on for such a long time. It's so intertwined with our economics. Nobody knew NAFTA was going to be this hard. You wait. You're going to be hearing this in the next couple of weeks. Nobody knew that NAFTA was going to be this hard. Okay. So it sounds like that you were imagining a pretty big renegotiation of NAFTA. What would a fair NAFTA look like to you? Big isn't good enough word. Massive. Huge. That had to have been some sarcasm there. But the interviewer says huge. What would it look like? What would a fair NAFTA look like? It's got to be, no, it's got to be. Otherwise, we're terminating NAFTA. The interviewer asked again, what would a fair NAFTA look like? You know, I think he just really genuinely wants an answer. So this is Donald Trump's response. I'm quoting, okay? I'm quoting. I was all set to terminate, and this wasn't a game I was playing. I'm not playing, I wasn't playing chess or poker or anything. I never even thought about. There's one piece of truth in there. Never even thought. It's always the best when you really feel this way, but I had no thought of anything else. And these two guys, I think he's referring to Cohn and Mnuchin, these two guys will tell you I had no thought of anything else but termination. But because of my relationship with both of them, and I think when he says them, I think he's referring to Justin Trudeau of Canada and the Mexican president, I said I would like to give that a try too. When they asked to, don't cancel NAFTA just to renegotiate it, I'd like to give that a try too. That's fine. I mean, out of respect for them, it would have been very disrespectful to Mexico and Canada had I said that. I would not. This is the guy who, all throughout his life, has made it his professional acumen to not pay for his debts. This is the guy who will hire a whole bunch of private contractors, get them to build him a building, puts a small deposit down on the building to have his name on it, gets the contractors to build the building up to about 95% done. And then, when the bills come due, he says, you know what? I'm not going to pay you. I don't feel like I want to pay you the full amount. I'll pay you 25 cents on the dollar. And you say, well, no, no, I put this much money in. 25 cents on the dollar is not even going to cover my expenses. Not to mention all of the, all of the cost for the workers and what have you. Well, sorry, I'm not going to pay. And if you don't like that, take me to court. I got plenty of lawyers. I'll tie you up for the next couple of years. You'll go bankrupt waiting on this court case to come to fruition. And then at the end of it, the court's just going to say, hey, pay 25 cents on the dollar anyway. So what do you want to do? This is his MO. I've talked to so many people who've had this happen. I mean, remember his golf course not too long ago? He did that. Now, this is actually a good story because it had a happy ending for once. The golf course, I believe it was the guy who was the architect and the designer for the golf course. Donald Trump says, I'm not going to pay you. Same thing. I'm not going to pay you. I'll take me to court if you want it all, but I'm only going to pay you this much. So the guy did take him to court, and he fought him over the next 2 years. And the guy pretty much went bankrupt doing it, just like Donald Trump said. But guess what? The judge ordered not just that Donald Trump pay for the full amount, but to pay for his legal expenses and his interest. So if Donald Trump does something like that to you, and it seems insurmountable, take him to court, because you will get paid. Don't just cower out of it. But this is Donald Trump's MO. This is Donald Trump's Trumponomics. This is a guy, Donald Trump, this is a guy who recently built a golf course in Scotland and was trying to force those people in the surrounding area out, and they wouldn't go. Dumping their trash on his lawn, dumping his trash on their lawn, the shittiest neighbors you can think of. And then wanted to build a wall around it, sound familiar? And make them pay for it. Jesus Christ. Oh, let me tell you, the Scottish people love them some Donald Trump. I think I saw an interview with one of the guys that's along this border wall in Scotland. Samantha Bee did an interview with him, and he had 2 words for Donald Trump, and the first one started with F, and the next one was U. Donald Trump is a piss-poor businessman. He is a liar. He is a cheat. He will screw anybody over for any amount of money. No matter if he would screw a kid over for a fucking nickel. He is a cheapskate bastard. This is the guy we've decided to put in charge of our economy. And his Trumponomics, his MO, is to fuck people over so he can make money. That's all he's ever done. He has never done anything altruistic in his life. He doesn't even know what the word altruistic means. Yeah, I think I know that guy. Doesn't he own a deli on 63rd and 5th? If you voted for Donald Trump, you have to understand when people like me, who live in New York, who Donald Trump is local news, when we told you this is what he does, this is how he makes his money, by not paying his bills. He's already talked about it. Hey, we're not going to pay our debt. He's already threatened the government with a shutdown, saying, hey, the government could use a good shutdown. Those are his words. The government could use a good shutdown. When Congress comes forward and says, hey, we're going to do a government shutdown because we don't want to increase our debt ceiling. That is money that we have already spent. That is not money on the next cycle. That's money we have already spent. And Donald Trump's like, hey, I don't feel like paying my bills. Do you think he's going to do the same thing? And we're talking on a macro scale here. We're talking about countries' economies depending on it. China is probably biting their nails right now because, hey, they bought all our debt. They own our ass. Donald Trump's saying, hey, I'm not going to pay the bills now. This man has absolutely no intention of fixing our economy. No matter how many times he ran on, I like good trades, not bad trades. He has no idea what a trade deal is. I will give him credit for pulling out of TPP, although if I asked him what TPP stood for, he probably wouldn't know. But it's not like he had to pull out of the deal that was already in place. All he had to do was say, no, I don't like it. And then it's over with. Thank God. But now he wants to pull out of NAFTA. I am not saying that something needs to be fixed, something doesn't need to be fixed in NAFTA, because it certainly does. It was a shit trade deal. A lot of American workers, a lot of farmers, they lost their money, their jobs, and now they're completely screwed over, and they're never going to get those jobs back. What do you got?
He explains that he takes advantage of the laws of the nation because I'm running a company. This is quoted. My obligation right now is to do well for myself, my family, my employees, and for my companies, and that's what I do.
You hear that? My. Nothing to do with anything else but me. And then on the, I remember on the campaign trail, I believe it was in one of the debates, he says, hey, it's the law of the land. I'm just following the law. So what if I have to take advantage of some loopholes? There's this word, it's called ethics. Do you even know what the fuck it means? Yes, these loopholes allow you to skirt the edge of the law. You're not breaking the law, but you're not a really nice person. Kind of like the economic crash of 2008, 2009. Those Wall Street bankers didn't break the law, but thanks to Bill Clinton in instituting NAFTA, thanks to Bill Clinton getting rid of Glass-Steagall, thanks to George Bush's constant stripping of regulations in regards to Wall Street, they didn't have to break the law. Those laws were already knocked away. We'll just erase that part. You guys do whatever you want to do. You run the country. You're the engine that runs this country. I'm sorry, honey, but Wall Street is not the engine that runs this country. And this country is not a company. It is filled with hardworking people, middle-class people, whose wages have become stagnant. They've not changed since the 1980s. This country right now is supposed to be run by its middle class, and we have completely dismissed them out of hand. We've stripped them of every little bit of power that they have. We've taken every last nickel away from them, Republicans and Democrats. Just sapped them dry. And meanwhile, having us bouncing from one foot to the other on tweets from the president and not really getting to the core of the issue. Wall Street's model, Donald Trump's model, is cheat, lie, and fucking steal. Hey, this is Antoinette from Transistor Rodeo. If you like what you saw here, please subscribe for more videos and content, and you can follow me on Twitter at Transistor Rodeo.